Oh, is Neil?
Good evening.
Hi, Neil.
Sorry, I'm slightly late.
It's all right.
Yeah,
How are you?
live.
Yeah, you're live on Facebook, on YouTube now as well.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I suppose before we start, as we haven't got a chair, I better kick it off until we get to the election of chair
yeah.
things.
Okay.
So kick off the meeting. Number one, receive apologies for any absence. I know Kay can't make it. And also Michelle said that she'd be in a bit late.
Yes.
I don't know if we got anyone else. Oh yeah, and Carl said that he couldn't make it either. So number two, election to elect a chair. Have I got any nominations?
Don't really know.
Keep
Oh,
as is.
clearly, Russell.
Yeah, well, keep as is.
Yeah, well, are you seconding Russell, Ian?
Yeah, well, I said keep as is.
Okay, so you're seconding him, voting for him. So Russell is appointed chairman. Over to you, Russell.
Right. Okay. The chairman of this committee has to be a member of the parish council because it's a parish council committee as opposed to a sports association one. But I'm very honoured to be re-elected.
No finer man, Russell. Can I echo that as well?
Item 3.
You crazy Malcolm.
Co-opt further committee members. So we've got football, cricket, and tennis. Anybody else do you think that should be co-opted?
Well, I mean, voting members we're restricted to 3. We can have
Right.
non-voting members,
Yeah.
but so I mean, I don't know if you consider David, Neil, and Michelle, or Carl. David, Neil, and Carl.
Yeah, I would propose that.
Yeah, I think that's so we've got to spread across the different groups, and because obviously Michelle's associated with the football with me, Steve.
Yeah.
I think that probably makes sense. We've got a representation across the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, are the councillors happy with that?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Unanimous. Right, you're on.
Right. To receive declarations of interest by members in any of the agenda items below. So does anybody have any interest to declare?
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay. And to approve the minutes of the last meeting, as there hasn't been a meeting for 2 years, there are no minutes to approve, so that item is cancelled. Item 6 is a review of the lease of the sports ground by the Sports Association. It has remained unchanged apart from a slight review of the figures and things since it was first drawn up. I think it's safe to say, Steve, that there are no problems on the parish council side with it, is there?
There are none, but we'll have to get a new lease agreed next year. This lease only runs up to the 1st of September next year.
Right. Okay.
So, but no, it's absolutely fine. The parts of it that are significant, I've taken out and put on the agenda.
Okay. And you're happy, Neil and David? As
Yeah.
tenants?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Okay. The next item is financial matters, which is the Sports Association bank balance and the accounts for the year as well.
Yeah, I've got an apology, I think, for Ian here. I don't think I dropped these over to you, Ian.
Correct.
But essentially, would you mind just or I could actually highlight what the what the latest figures are. Do you mind if I take over?
No, you carry on.
Right.
Yeah.
I think last year, the balance sheet, last year, the CSA had 11.5 grand in the bank. This year, they've got 10,300. Now, in terms of profit and loss is really kind of irrelevant, really. I think the bank balance is a significant figure there. But I guess the £10,000 grant income that we got for the COVID business grant is significant in giving that healthy bank balance.
Yeah.
The expenditures, as you'd expect, water rates, heat and light, repairs and renewals. There's insurance. Now, I did send round an email when we took out the maintenance contract. We agreed that for VAT purposes, the parish council would pay all of the costs, including the cost of mowing the cricket and football pitches, and we can get the VAT back, but that the CSA would, if you like, give us some kind of grant to actually meet what the cricket and football payments are. And I sent an email round to that effect, saying that up until the end of August, the cricket costs were £157.50 and the football costs were £105. So can you bear that in mind when we talk about the overall financial position, the operating fee, etc., etc.? I think we should defer it till then. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Agreed, yeah.
Okay.
We can't, parish council can't invoice the CSA because that would incur VAT, wouldn't it?
The CSA would have to pay VAT. I think
Yes.
the CSA could make a contribution to the parish council,
Yes.
but it all rolls into the overall financial position, really, because we've got the operating fee and we've got, as I say, the whole. It's how we want to account for it, really. It's Michelle. I could ask Michelle that question.
Yeah.
She's just
Okay.
coming in.
That was a very timely entrance.
Do you mind if I pose the question?
No, carry on, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Russell. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, sorry.
Hi, Michelle.
No problem. Michelle, we've just been through the finances of CSA, which absolutely fine.
Yep.
But we were talking about how we want to account for the pitch cutting fees for the cricket and football grounds. I sent an email around saying that when we took the when we initiated the agreement, we said that the parish council would make the payment
Yes.
for VAT purposes, and we'd find some way for the CSA to remunerate the parish council. I don't know how you want to pay that.
No, you just issue an invoice to the CSA.
No, because
Can't do
you'll
that.
get VAT then.
Oh, okay. Okay, I guess it would just be a case of us making the payment to you, as if it's like
Ad
part
hoc.
of our agreement. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does need to be ad hoc. It mustn't specify what it's for.
Yeah.
Due to
If I just reference it as parish council,
Yeah, a grant, just a grant
yeah.
or donation.
or donation.
And because we're not taking the service fee at the moment, it ties in a bit, so that obviously we're just paying for things that perhaps would have been covered normally by that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Shall we just defer that until we talk about the operating fee?
Yep.
Yeah, but I think important to bring to your attention for when we do that.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's the next
Oh, it is.
point two, to review the operating fee. I think you said that you don't need it this year, Michelle, didn't you?
I think in view of the fact that we've got a considerable amount in the bank, it would be wrong for us to accept it personally. I don't know if Neil's in agreement with me, but
Yeah, absolutely. I
don't think it's something we should be considering, really. I think we've got more than enough with the grant that we received, and I don't think it's necessary. We've got nothing major that I know of has got to be paid out this year. So
no, I mean the pitch is looking as good as the Cobblers one at the moment down there for the football, and obviously cricket looking good. And we'll come on to talk about expenses next year. But I agree, Michelle, wholeheartedly. Yeah.
excellent.
Could I just ask a question, Russell?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure if for as you've got these balances, you're waiving fees, but I see there are no football subs or indeed cricket subs. There seems to be a cricket funding,
Yeah.
which is an outgoing. I'm not quite sure what that is, but
Yeah.
there's no subs coming in,
No.
which, one would, kind of normally accept unless you just unless you've decided to waive it, which obviously then has an implication in the long term, because you should really be building up your balances, which would reduce your future requirement for a grant from the parish council. If you're just giving yourself a free pass for a year or two while you've got balances at the moment. Could you just talk through that, please?
Yeah, well, it was agreed last year with the COVID that because we were unable to train, we were unable to charge parents. Same with cricket, because they didn't play, they didn't receive any funding for their subs either. That fees would be waived for last year. Hence, there's no income coming through for subs for either cricket or football. We did also agree that that would be the same this year, but then for next year we would revert back to full fees as normal.
Okay. And what was the cricket funding, as a matter of interest?
The cricket funding was, I think it was agreed at the last meeting that they would receive £1,000 from the grant because they'd received no income and they needed to, is that right?
It was for the cricket square, Dave, wasn't it? I think it was obviously needed some essential works on the square itself, which is obviously quite a specialist
we haven't
piece of
used
work.
the square for 12 months, and obviously machinery wanted servicing, and it was like a start-up grant again, which the cricket club needed to carry on, I suppose, with no income at all from any functions or match fees or whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I understand now.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything they wish before we? No. Okay.
So what did you want to do about the grass cutting fees?
Well, it's operating fees, isn't it? Comes later, doesn't it?
No,
It's
in this 7.2 Ian.
Yeah.
To review the operating fee.
I mean, I guess as far as the books are concerned, it is an expense like all your other expenses. But I'm not a decision maker here.
This is the operating fee for next year.
Well, we've agreed. Sorry, Russell, do you mind?
No,
we've agreed to waive the operating fee, but it's just whether the parish council think it's right and the CSA think it's right to actually kind of pay back the. I mean, it'll all come out in the wash anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there's any in terms of those fees. Yeah, I think Steve, we're open. The bank balance is healthy enough, as Michelle's mentioned, to cover that. What £262.50, I think it is, isn't it, in completeness? So I think that's fair, and would expect to kind of use the grant, because that was what the grant was for in effect. So no problem whatsoever with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just suggest, because you mustn't one mustn't even give the appearance of evading VAT on these things, that you actually round it. If it's 260, can I make a suggestion that you just make a donation of £250 or something?
If the parish is happy with that, yeah.
Are you okay with that, Steve and Russell?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That seems sensible to me.
The finances for next season, are they to be set at another meeting?
There is CSA issue, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, this is parish council committee.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, as landlord committee, and
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I asked the same thing, Dave. Now I understand.
Okay.
Okay. Right. 7.3 is to communicate and any further requests for expenditure that is the landlord's responsibility.
So cricket haven't any at the moment.
No.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you mind, Russell?
No, carry on.
Yeah, we have over the last couple of years. I think both for the village hall and the sports clubs kind of had requests for funding halfway through the year. We do set a budget at the start of the year. The budget is meant to keep us going through the year from 1st of April to the end of March. So if you really can think of anything that you'd like us to include in the budget, the parish council can take it outside of this meeting, but it would need to go through and we'd really want to consider it for our budgetary calculations.
Yeah, in advance, so we know what we're doing.
Yeah. So from the football point of view, Steve,
The one thing that comes to mind is the resurfacing of the tennis courts, which we will half of the cost will have to be paid because the grant is only for half the cost, isn't it?
Well, I think there was an expectation that there'd be
CSA would
crowdfunding for the half, and it would be cost neutral to the village.
Right.
But do we know when we're going to get that grant through yet, Steve?
Well, it's got to be accepted. I did know and I've forgotten.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll find out when that decision is due.
Yeah.
Certainly, all the money must be spent by the end of 2023.
Okay. And just for Neil's benefit, really, we normally set our budget at our December meeting, which is December the 6th. So that really means if you do want a request for money, I think it would be good for Steve to have received it so he can put it into the proposed budget. Well, mid-November or third week in November at latest, really. Is that about right for you, Steve?
That'd be fine for me, Phil.
Yeah.
So I was just going to touch on, so from Cole's point of view, I'm not sure I can pick up with Cole separately to see around the kind of 50% funding, whether he's using membership fees to fund that, or like you say,
I think actually he said he was going to do that. Plus,
actually, the scenario, Neil, is sorry, Russell, I keep butting in.
That's all right, carry on.
The scenario is better than Carl expected, because Carl expected the cost to be including VAT. But the costs are actually net of VAT because we will reclaim the VAT.
Right.
So
okay.
Carl did actually say that with the current money he's got from fees and what is expected next year, I think he expected to make virtually half of the total cost, including VAT. So I think by the sound of it, from what Carl said, that should be comfortable.
Yeah. And then from a football point of view, just to give a heads up so we can confirm more for that December 6th meeting or have a conversation, Steve, outside of this, is we touched on the double doors at the football pavilion, which I think are pretty dated and flimsy in terms of security, but also from a weatherproof point of view. So when we've had some torrential rain, we have experienced kind of, the weather coming in to the clubhouse, and also it was a good job we've shaved the doors to make them easier to lock now, but they do feel pretty flimsy, and from a security point of view, so that's probably just one area of those two main doors. The other aspect is probably just revisiting the fire exits at the back of the changing rooms within the change. So I think it'd be a pretty easy one to do, but I'm not sure where the keys are. So one for us to pick up, Steve, in relation to that, just from a fire security point of view, as well.
So that might be an expense, but I could actually get that kind of resolved and to parish council for that meeting.
I think one of the doors, Neil's actually got a padlock on it. I don't know if
it has. That's what I mean. Yeah. So
what,
it's,
on the fire door?
On the fire door. So it's quite.
And somebody's lost the key.
Yeah.
And that's probably quite an urgent one. But Steve, I was going to catch up with you to pick up offline, and maybe we just have a conflab about that over the weekend and meet down there to just sort that out, because that's probably one we need to sort out very much sooner rather than later.
Does anyone know anybody that does fire inspections?
I think that the people that do the PAT testing also do it.
Do they?
Yeah, I think they do fire inspections as well.
I'll get in touch with them.
Yeah, and the other one is kind of a bit of wear and tear in terms of tiles on the roof of the pavilion, that obviously just showing test of time really, and just a but I'll drop all those in a note to you, Steve and Dave. I know a couple of issues we had on guttering before on the cricket pavilion. The other one we've noticed the last few weeks, we had an issue with it during COVID, was the manhole covers not being fixed and some of them being kind of lifted or removed. And it's pretty dark down there, as we know, in some of the areas up near the cricket pavilion. Scott Pearson and I were up there the other day and noticed some of them have been kind of moved or wedged out of the way. So that might just be another one to kind of pick up on. And I don't know if they can be fixed.
I thought Richard wanted to have a go at them.
They're definitely open to moving still at the moment. So this was Monday night. I was there.
Yeah. So who's moving the things? That's the thing.
That's the $100 million question, I suppose, Ian, isn't it? It'd always be difficult to know, but I don't know if it's just, is it a case of fixing them?
Well, shall I get Michael Lever up with Ian, myself, and you, Neil?
I'll go up there
To the sports ground.
Yeah, you're invited. Neil.
You happy with that, Russell?
Yes, yeah.
Got a game tomorrow night, Steve, or Saturday morning. It'd be a Saturday lunchtime. It should be handy. But anyway,
what time tomorrow night are you up there, Neil?
From 6 till
Right.
dark, probably. In yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. It'll be light at 6, won't it? What am I doing tomorrow? I'm all right at 6 o'clock. Should we meet up there? I'll see if I can get Michael up there for 6 o'clock.
Just before we end it, we've got a game, Steve. So that's the reason. So
Well, do you want to leave it to the weekend?
I'll
Yeah,
come up
let's do
there
that.
after 5. I'll come up there after 5, 5:45.
Well, no, we'll leave it to the weekend, Ian.
Right.
What time suits the weekend?
You tell me what you're doing. I'll tell you. Try and think what I'm doing.
1 o'clock. Let's say 1 o'clock Saturday.
1 o'clock weekend.
1 o'clock Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday, yeah.
Right. And
We
going
are
back
playing
to the,
cricket, but that won't interfere.
going back to the football pavilion doors.
Mhm.
If we've got we've got the escape things at the back, would it be possible to have a lock done there and put something down the front of the football pavilion, like we got in front of the cricket, a roller shutter?
Yeah, potentially. I suppose it'll come down to cost, Ian, at the end of the day, won't it?
I know it does, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just thinking security, and obviously there is more children in play, or youngsters up there at times. But be something to look forward to be more secure.
Mhm.
Okay, well, we'll look at doors at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah, anyhow, 1 o'clock Saturday.
Yeah.
Next.
Right.
Right.
Anything else before we move on to item 8? Dave, you're happy?
Yeah, I did request some branches to be cut at some stage, but I guess it's not the right time of year to do it.
No.
Well,
What's that on, Dave?
Sorry?
What's that on to be cut?
There's some trees in between the cricket and the football, and they're encroaching
Yeah.
over the.
we've
Right.
commissioned that work, Dave.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving moving on to section 8, which is commitments and obligations arising from the lease between the parish council and the sports association. There are 5 different things, as you can see from the agenda. So the additions or alterations planned by the tenant, which I don't think there are any, are there?
Don't think so.
No.
No.
Permitted use, any plans by the tenant? There was talk of pub night, food night, wasn't there, which seems to have died a death because the guy from Bandit Foods never came back.
But at the end of the day, I mean, would the whole village or all the close appreciate something going on if they're not involved either?
Well, no, this thing was for
I know that.
the whole village. Yeah. None of the clubs, sports clubs, have got any plans for anything special.
I suppose the only one, Dave, I don't know if it's
Oh,
relevant
God.
here, is the Stony. There's the Stony note you dropped.
Yeah, we've got a resolution about that, Neil, later. So
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So any defects in the premises that we've already gone through that 8.3.
Yeah.
And 8.4 is safety inspections of the gas and electricity, the internal decoration, and the firefighting and alarm equipment. All of which is the parish council's responsibility. So you mentioned there were roof tiles looking at, didn't you, on the top of the football pavilion. Is the cricket pavilion roof all right there?
It seems to be. Mind you, we're only up there in the summer, so I suppose these concerns are through the winter, aren't they? We don't appear to have any problems at the moment.
No, good. Okay.
Something we can perhaps look at 1 o'clock on Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, we can have a walk around. Could I just raise, Chair, that Brian Shaler, bless him, did actually highlight that none of the pipes in the roof of the cricket pavilion are lagged. So I don't know whether people wanted to consider whether they need to be lagged or not, and whether it's at all practical.
I don't know about the practicality, but I would have thought that as the cricket pavilion is not used very well, it's only used very little in the winter, isn't it?
Yet we haven't had a burst pipe in the pavilion. But
no, I think, but don't you turn the water off though?
We do turn it off.
Yeah.
But is it drained?
Probably not. We leave a couple of taps open, but we just turn it off tight. But
in other words, it's drained down as such, isn't it? If you left the tap open.
I suppose there's always an opportunity for it to burst a pipe, isn't it? Doesn't it at times? But
I mean, I think
is it worth any costing?
It's probably worth having and seeing how much it would cost.
I mean, from memory, in the sort of 10 years, I mean, Ian goes back a bit further, but the cricket pavilion has never frozen. The only freezing we've had, frozen pipes we've had, are in the end of the garage, that little toilet area there, and in the football pavilion, which is obviously in use. I mean, I'm not sure I'd really want to spend an awful lot of money on the cricket, because as Dave says, it is actually switched off and the tap's left open.
There's just one thing there. There is government grants on insulation, etc. If somebody could look into that.
Is there?
Did you hear?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are they not just for residential properties though, Ian?
I've no idea. I've been asked over various few things. If not, we can pass by it. But I mean, at the end of the day, if there is government money there for it, why not take it?
Yeah. Okay. 100% with you there, Ian.
Yeah, just to be clear, I mean, yes, the answer is yes to Ian, of course. But I mean, I think we're talking here about lagging the pipes, not insulating the building.
Yeah.
And I think the insulating the building is typically where the grants are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We have some confidential business to discuss later on. So we have to consider and agree to a motion for the public to be excluded from part 2 of the meeting so that we can discuss matters in accordance with section 100A.4 of the Local Government Act as defined in paragraph 1 of part 2 of schedule 12A to the Act, which basically means that we would have to stop the live streaming at this point. So I would like to propose that motion.
Second.
Yeah, okay.
All those in favour?
Yeah.
Unanimous. So at this stage, then we will have to stop the live stream.
No, I think
no.
We've got 9.2 and 9.3
sorry,
to get through first.
Sorry, okay. Right, 9.2 is the strategy for repairs and regular servicing of the mower, the ride-on mower. And I leave that to Neil, David, and Ian.
Right, I was going to say my piece. I mean, at the end of the day, I think over the last few years we've thrown money away because it's not been done by proper certified type of people that do that mower. If we try and do away with the mower, you'll get in a situation where whoever we have cut it, whether it's Jordan, Tom, Dick or Harry, if it can't be done for a particular time before a match, there's enough people like Scott and Neil wants to be trained on it, etc. They can go in and cut it when necessary, and we can either service it every 2 years, it'd be maximum, but paid right money.
No, I agree with that, Ian. Scott has carried out 1 or 2 running repairs when he's been good enough to help us out. So I would think there are a few issues with it.
Well, 2 of the Cowboys have done it in the last 2 years, 3 years.
So where do you suggest, Ian? Is there a place that's...
Well, I go up to Browns. You've got Browns at Lanes and Buzzard. You've got Browns at Whedon, or whatever. You've got to go to proper people who can take the cylinders off and balance them. I should think now, the way they've been hacked about with an angle grinder instead of proper sharpening, they just need to have new cylinders. They'll last us another 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, I think that's a costing issue, wasn't it, Steve? I think you'd already made an inquiry.
Well, we did get a quote, but it wasn't a binding quote. And I mean, if the cost, I can't remember what the cost was, but I think if the total cost is above 2,000, we have to go out to tender. But I don't think it was that much. But we, I mean, it was identified last year that we need new cylinders on the mower. So I think really the amount of money we're talking about, we ought to get more than one quote on that for actually doing the repair. The service thing's another matter. I think you're talking about separate things here. You're talking about repair, i.e. replacing the cylinder.
Well, yes, it's a repair as such, but at the end of the day, if you only do it every 2 years, have new cylinders put on and service it every 2 years for the amount of work it does, and you need them every 2 years.
Ian, I'm saying that we need to separate out 2 things. One is the repair work to actually put 3 new cylinders on it as a one-off cost. And the second thing is ongoing servicing that we need to consider every year as a continuous.
No, you wouldn't have to every year.
Yeah, that's right. Or every other year.
Probably every other year. So where you're paying £1,100 each year, or £1,100 to Browns, you'll spending £500, £500 or £600, and it's not. We've got nothing. It's worth anything. It's because you're not doing it correctly.
Yeah, that point's taken. But I'm saying that what do we do about getting the cylinders replaced before we even think about servicing? Does it need doing? And how are we going to do it? Who are we going to go to? Are we going to get more than one quote? I would suggest we should do.
Will you find proper people to do a Ransom's mower then?
Well, you tell us. I mean, you're better.
I've got one, Steve. I've got a guy that Horton Cricket Club use who's based just in Towcester and he actually does some work in Castlethorpe when I had a conversation with him. So that's at least one quote we can get there. I can speak to Horton about who else they use. So obviously they're in the game of having mowers serviced as well. So I can get a couple of quotes. At least we can get a view on.
What about Stony Stratford Cricket Club then? I've got plenty of mowers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another contact we can use there to kind of speak to. So yeah, we can get at least 2, if not more, Steve. So I'll pick that up and come back to you.
Yeah.
How long do cylinders? How long would you expect cylinders on a mower like this one to last?
10 years if they're done correctly.
7 years.
10
And he
years.
said, I would guess, we've had this one for about 10 years because I remember talking to Bert Tapp about
longer than that. How long's Bert Tapp been dead?
Yeah.
I don't think they've ever been replaced, have they, lads?
No, I don't think they have.
No, not all day.
Well, that's good if we can get a few quotes.
Yeah, it probably doesn't always
Doesn't
pro rata it across the length of years that they've been running. So that's the other thing to factor in as well as part of it.
Do we not get a service cost at the same time as getting those?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely,
correct.
absolutely. Yeah.
Apart from servicing, do the blade and sharpening, do the blades actually need balancing or anything like that? Or is that part of the service?
Should be part of the service.
Your service.
Yeah. Okay.
So the action there is Neil will get us at least 3 quotes both for the replacement of cylinders and for ongoing servicing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Also,
Ian, did you want one of those quotes to be Browns?
Pardon?
Did you want one of the quotes to be from Browns?
You've got to go to Browns. They're the only people really around here that know what's the name? There's a place at Aylesbury, I think, do it.
Well, Neil's put his thumb up. So is that all right, Neil? If Browns is one of the quotes that you get?
Yeah, and like this place at Toaster, a lot of, I know they service the same make and model for. I've been in the yard there and seen some of the others got, so I know they've got experience in it, and like I say, other cricket clubs that are using them. So
just trying to think who is at Toaster, what his name is now.
I think, Neil, as well as getting quotes for the repair and the servicing, you should get a quote for repair and servicing. Yes. You know, with a discount for the repair if they're going to get the service contract.
Mm-hmm. Yep, good point.
You drive a hard bargain, Russell.
Yeah.
We'll see what you come back. If you want to talk to me about that, Neil, you know where I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
We move on to 9.3, which is David. It's your request to allow Stony Stratford Youth Cricket Club to use the sports ground facilities.
Yeah. Well, basically, we've been in discussion, me, Stuart, and Russell, our skipper, a few times with the chairman of Stony. And they seem to be fairly keen, or they're asking the cricket club whether we're prepared to host a number of junior games. They have, you believe it or not, they've got 200 junior members at Stony Stratford. And they're having to farm these lads out around some towns to use their grounds. They just thought it might be nice to approach a village club to see if we would, you know, if there is a scenario of finding the time and the space to play these 2020 games. One of the problems being, obviously, we don't have an all-weather wicket, which these lads use. And also included, could we please provide a grass wicket for about 6 ladies fixtures on a Sunday afternoon. And as we've cut back on our Sunday fixtures, that probably wouldn't be a problem. But they would be if we was to agree, they would be instrumental in helping the club provide the all-wicket strip for match purposes, as well as renewing our training area where the nets are, supplying players for the club, whether that be quality youngsters or senior members that can't get a game at Stony. In fact, they're loaning 4 players this weekend to make up our President's match, which would be available on a regular basis, and we've been struggling all season. And also they have 2 trained guys that sit on mowers like we've currently got at the club, belonging to the parish council. They would be available to come along and do a cut as and when required, because Stony would expect that outfit to be cut every week. So they just wanted me to raise to see if it was feasible. Obviously, the games the boys would be playing would be Sunday mornings, 2020 games, which last about 3 hours, and occasionally midweek. Now, I've suggested if they play midweek, it's got to be a Monday or Friday, so as it doesn't clash with Neil's footballing lads, which train Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And as we're not using the ground so much on a Sunday, perhaps we could coordinate with Stony, because they are making this offer to 1 or 2 different clubs to try and support all these youngsters that basically belong to Stony Stratford Cricket Club.
Yeah. What are the cricket club members' views on this?
Yeah, well, we're happy with the youth section joining, because we haven't had one since I've been a club member, which goes back donkey's years, and the bigger clubs in the area.
Till you were since you were a youth.
Till I was 11. The bigger clubs around the local area, they're only surviving because of their youth operations, and they grew up to become members and players, and which we haven't got. Obviously, there are some reservations because we would need enough people to man these people turning up and performing. Whether the parish council and the sports club are happy with somebody from Stoney having a key, just playing, locking up and going, because these games last 3 hours. I don't know. And obviously, it does increase. I've got my Castlethorpe hat on now. It does increase some traffic flow through the estate at times, doesn't it? So, whereas it's moving the club forward, and I'd obviously like to leave a legacy, I think it'd enhance the club. But I really need people's opinions, and I think it can be managed. But he was discussing about 30 odd games. Well, I don't think personally there's any way we want to commit to that number of games, although he did say they might find it difficult to get money available for an all-weather wicket without committing a certain number of games. But that's where they're coming from. So
this all-weather wicket would replace the grass wicket where you play?
No, it'd go by the side of the grass wickets.
Right.
So because he doesn't want to stand on the Castlethorpe Cricket Club's feet on a Saturday.
Yeah.
When obviously we need to play on grass wickets. And these ladies, these 4 or 5 games these ladies want to play would have to be on a grass wicket. It would be to the side of our square, which we could use as a practice area during the season, and also play the odd game on, I suppose, when they might.
And that's the same, Dave, as what Stoney have got themselves on their own ground down at Ostlers Lane. So it's an artificial wicket on the side of the square, for want of a better word, next to the multiple tracks. So from my point of view, I think I know we've chatted about this, Dave. It's kind of outside of the football season anyway, so it doesn't affect us from that point of view. And Michelle will know, the rest of the managers, we don't train Mondays or Fridays currently anyway. In the football season, in effect, that will continue. Kind of going forward. So personally, I think it's good that you're going to get some enhancement to the facilities down at the ground. I think when you've got open spaces, the last few months has shown us, getting people out and playing sport is such a massive kind of factor. So I think it's a real benefit for the village in that sense, albeit, like you say, Dave, the village hat on, that you're going to have traffic going in there. But I think you want the facilities used, and the facilities will be enhanced with them coming over. I suppose a couple of things, and I can't remember if I've mentioned this to you, Dave, but I suppose what is the commitment that if Stoney are going to fund the artificial pitch, is there any kind of comeback if a year down the line we said, actually, it hasn't worked out for us, there's a commitment to fund some of the artificial, because they're not cheap, these artificial wickets, are they? So
well, he's already obtained a quote, which is about £9,000, which he says, I don't know, that Stoney Stratford Cricket Club would fund most of that if it was to go ahead. And obviously we'd need to sign a contract with them for 2 or 3 seasons, I don't know. Yeah, go, Phil.
Sorry, I was just waiting. When you finish, Dave, I mean, I'm just raising my hand so that I can speak, or ask to speak when you finished.
Yeah, no, you carry on.
Okay. I mean, as a member of the sports committee, I'm very happy that whatever arrangements you work out with Neil about use and with your own club and the use of the ground, absolutely fine with us. A few little points which are slightly more legalistic, really. Can you discuss with Steve the form of the agreement that you have with Stoney Stratford to make sure that it's not going to require to go through the loop of an allotments association approval? I think if it's a sublease, it does, doesn't it, Steve? But not if it's just a straight rental or something.
There is no problem whatsoever with our permission, I don't believe, in the lease between the CSA and the parish council. However, the lease between the allotments association and the parish council does say not to assign undercut part share with or share possession with any outside bodies, with anybody else, which I think includes the CSA. So I think that's something we need to take up. We need to take that up anyway. I think you said earlier, Phil, about a couple of unclear areas that need to be resolved with the lease between the parish council and the CSA. But there is no problem in the lease between the.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, there's no problem in the lease between the parish council and the CSA. There's ambiguities to be cleared up in the lease between the allotments association and the parish council.
Would a contract to rent the ground for so many matches, that would surely sidestep, because it wouldn't be a lease, it would be a contract of.
That's irrelevant, Russell, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
My main, Ian, it's my main concern is any agreement between the Castle Sports Association and Stony Stratford has to be in writing, etc. Any damages or it's locked up or something occurs, we're not covered by accidents or whatever. It's got to be sorted out that particular way, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, yes, certainly that's a point. Make sure the insurances cover, which I think is a good thing. I mean, just running on a little bit further on this lease issue, the artificial strip. I mean, certainly, David, speaking as the parish council, this is a great opportunity for the cricket club to expand, etc., and that's all good stuff. But I think it would be the case that the parish council would not want to be put in a position of funding a facility for Stony Stratford.
No, well, we've already,
yeah. So,
no,
so long as
we've already stated that.
Yeah.
And in fact, Mr. Stuart Tate was going to make some inquiries as to whether we as a club could secure this pitch and not be associated with Stony with that, or whether we're keeping it. We would hate them to roll
with
it
your
up
weather,
and take it away.
Dave, you just said it's going to be $9,000 to put it down. We don't want Stony Stratford to come and pull it up. We've got to repair what's left behind. Or they say they want money. They want money to leave it there, and they go off.
Yeah, we do appreciate that.
Yeah,
We'll have to be very careful on that.
Yeah, okay, good. So as long as
obviously
it's
both cricket clubs have their own insurance, but it obviously
Okay.
doesn't cover buildings and
Right.
stuff like that, does it?
And the final sort of rather legalistic point on this is use of the mower. We have had problems in the past where different users of the mower have been sort of pointing fingers at each other and saying you've left it in a bad condition. The other one says, no, I didn't, you did, and so on. So whilst in principle, I haven't got any issue with Stony Stratford, for example, using the mower, but putting it bluntly, there's got to be one boss, there's got to be somebody who's going to be responsible for that mower and make sure that if different operators are going to use it, that they're going to, ensure that it's kept in the appropriate condition and not left in a little bit of a mess. I seem to remember we had that problem a few years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the two.
Yeah, I totally agree with all
negative on
those
these
points.
things,
It's,
The other thing is how much extra traffic, car traffic, do you think this would raise going through Threat Close as well?
well, there'd be two teams arriving and two teams leaving.
Right.
No,
So
just the
it's
football.
just the one game
Yeah.
of cricket. Although, if they're going to play, if they're going to play Sunday mornings, and there's a match in the afternoon as well, the same scenario, I suppose, for 3 hours.
Yeah, but I mean, we've been used to, for many years, having a Saturday match and a Sunday match. I mean, it's not substantially different, I don't think. I think, I personally, would hope that residents wouldn't complain. And if they do, I think we have to say, well, this is a sports ground and it's a public highway, and it's not an unreasonable use.
I mean, have I got anything positive to go back to Stony? Reference them applying?
I would personally suggest, if the other councillors are happy, is to go back and say, yes, this is okay. We do need to check with the actual landlord, who's the allotments association, you could put in an artificial strip down and let this use be done. And I guess
the ground being used by a third party.
Yeah, for use by third party.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, but then we've got to make sure, I think there's got to be at least 2 parish councillors with Neil and David, etc., that meet Stony Stratford to discuss this over what their thoughts are and what their demands are.
No, let them do it, surely.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. See what happens.
I think if we can't
we've had this with the village hall.
If the cricket club can't control the situation, then I think it's a non-goer.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
obviously
Okay.
they can't go forward here without us
Okay.
allowing them to. And I wouldn't want the ground or the village cricket club to be taken over by Stony Stratford.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose our identity after all these years.
Correct.
But, I know where you're coming from, mate.
Mm.
And in fact, I value everybody's. I'm down the same lines as you boys and girls.
Mm.
So.
There have been instances in the past of people renting out the football pitch, haven't there, now?
Yeah, but
So
that's
this-
fine.
Yeah.
The lease allows that.
Yeah. Well, what's the problem with them renting out the cricket pitch and generously paying half the cost of installing an all-weather strip on a similar basis? It wouldn't be a lease; it would be a contract of hire, wouldn't it?
It's hiring is permitted under the
It'd probably
lease.
be in the wording, wouldn't it? Would it all be about the wording?
So long as it's not a lease of the ground or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a hire.
I can't see a problem if it's purely for the hire and a very generous donation for the facilities that they would require.
And the real positive, Dave, is it could also safeguard the future of Castlethorpe Cricket Club. To your point, isn't it, that you've got some lads that can fill the void, or girls, and like you say, we're also encouraging ladies cricket in the village as well, which I think is a great accolade as well. So I think there's loads of positives to it personally.
And I think a lot of these players and members and people that do join will be more local than perhaps 1 or 2 guys that we're having to call on at the moment. We get a guy that plays for us on Saturday that travels down from Warwickshire. Can you believe that? He's moved house but still plays for us. So.
Is his name Amos?
You'll go back a few years.
I am, mate. I do.
Okay. All right. I think I know where we're all coming from.
Yeah.
So I'll,
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
thank you very much.
Yeah. I think you can say that was a positive outcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. So does anybody now have any other business before we close the live streaming? Nothing to raise.
No.
Dave, nothing.
No.
Right, in that case, I